The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, Kern is set to move into the less restrictive orange tier for the first time, signaling some big changes for local businesses. We'll break down what those are coming up.
Plus, making it easier to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The Fairgrounds will begin giving shots in a drive-thru system. We'll show you how it looks.
Today marks 100 days until the Tokyo Olympics, and after months and months of setbacks, athletes are anxious to get to the games. A look at preparations. This is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. And good morning here at 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
And talking about the Olympics, we'll have more coming up. It's just so hard to believe that we're talking about the 2020 Olympics in 2021.
I know.
And they're going to still call it the 2020 Olympics because, they want to keep the format the same. But yeah, it is a little strange, and it's just been a whirlwind. That's just one example of the whirlwind that we've all been through over the last year dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. But, of course, the light at the end of the tunnel is that the games will go on as scheduled, and we have a preview coming up.
Getting excited. Olympics are always so much fun. All right, let's go ahead and bring in Alyssa Carlson. She is in this morning for Kevin with a look at your Wednesday weather. Good morning, Alyssa.
Good morning, Maddie, Alex, and good morning to you at home. We are waking up to cool temperatures this morning. You step outside and you may need a jacket as we are in the 40s and lower 40s in some of the outlying areas. So 43 in Lake Isabella, only 39 in Tehachapi, and temperatures near Frazier Park coming in at a cold 32 degrees. So certainly looking at chilly temperatures this morning. The wind's not helping. Look at those winds at the base of the grapevine. We are watching for them 30 to 35 miles per hour, and it's going to continue to be a windy go of it today through the mountains. Meanwhile, our system over the Great Basin pulling away, but leaving that cool air around. So tomorrow, or today I should say, 50 degrees at 7 a.m. and then at 11 looking at 60. And at 3 o'clock this afternoon, 70 degrees in the mountains. Temperatures today much cooler with the winds only in the 50s. We'll talk about this cool down and more in your complete pinpoint forecast.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. Your time now is 5:02, and Kern County's economy is one step closer to reopening. And that's because today, Kern is set to move into the less restrictive orange tier, according to the state. The move to this new tier means that capacity for many businesses will increase. Bars can now open outdoors with modifications, and restaurants can open indoor capacity to 50% or 200 people, whichever is fewer. Gyms and fitness centers can open with 25% capacity indoors. Capacity at movie theaters increases to 50% or 200 people, whichever is fewer. Museums and zoos can open indoor capacity to 50%, and retail has no limits. Here is where vaccinations come into play. Family entertainment centers can open at 25% capacity, or if all guests can show proof of full vaccination or testing, they can open to 50%. Outdoor live events can open at 33% capacity or 67% if all guests show proof of testing or full vaccination. These informative graphics can be found on our Instagram account at KGET News.
5:03 is your time now, and that also means with Kern County moving into the orange tier that hockey fans will soon be able to return to Mechanics Bank Arena. The Bakersfield Condors announced the team will host a limited capacity crowd for the remainder of the 2021 season, starting with this Saturday's game against San Diego. Condors' 365 members have ticket priority. There are no general public tickets available at this time, but there's a link on our website to be notified when tickets do become available. Just go to kget.com. And last week, the Kern County Department of Public Health had a record turnout of 10,000 vaccines administered at the Kern County Fairgrounds Walk-Thru Vaccine Clinic. 17's Ileana Capillan is live this morning at the Fairgrounds, where some changes are taking place today. And Ileana, I understand they're preparing for more record-breaking turnout, right?
That's right, Maddie. They are preparing for record-breaking turnout yet again this week, and that's because today is the start of the drive-thru vaccine clinic here at the Fairgrounds. They are expecting to vaccinate over 17,000 individuals with the Pfizer vaccine, and that'll be including the drive-thru and walk-through vaccinations. Now let's take a look. Here's what it's going to look like. So once somebody pulls up, patients will need to have a scheduled appointment, and then they will drive through the entrance located here on Bell Terrace, where they will be greeted by a team member that will direct them through the next steps in the process. After going through the medical screening process, getting the vaccine, and waiting their set observation time, patients are free to drive off.
We were able to expand because we have continued to get more of a vaccine allotment from the state. So it was always predicated on the ability to get more vaccine to expand to this drive-through portion. So again, we're just happy that we can again offer this new option, because we've become quite a drive-through type of a society. So this really may be a nice, convenient option for a lot of our residents.
Both walk-through and drive-through appointments are available today through Sunday, 9:30 to 4:30. And make sure you have that appointment, otherwise you will be turned away at this time. Reporting live at the Fairgrounds, Ileana Capellan, 17 News.
All right, thanks so much, Ileana.
Clinica Sierra Vista is now offering rapid COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccinations. Call 833-278-4584 to make your appointment. But don't delay. Clinica Sierra Vista, putting patients first.
Kern Public Health says it will follow CDC guidance to halt distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine after a handful of reports of a rare side effect, including blood clots. Health officials emphasize that blood clotting from the vaccine is extremely rare, adding that you are more likely to get clots from cigarettes or from the COVID-19 virus itself. Many local vaccination sites have already made the switch and are no longer providing the single-dose vaccine. The site at CSUB already administered 3,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine from Saturday to Monday. Anyone with appointments at CSUB yesterday were given the option to reschedule or receive the Pfizer vaccine. Bakersfield College has also postponed all pop-up clinics that were scheduled to administer the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The CDC and the FDA expect the pause to last for a short period of time. Here's a look at coronavirus numbers here at home, and Public Health announced 2 new deaths yesterday. Those deaths both happened in March. Most of the new deaths recently reported are from last month, not during the winter surge. This may indicate health officials have caught up in the lag in reported deaths. We have now lost 1,306 lives to the virus. Health officials added 60 new coronavirus cases to our totals yesterday. Our state data shows there are 46 people with more acute symptoms of the virus, and they are in the hospital. 15 are in the ICU.
Adventist Health of Bakersfield yesterday announced ambitious plans for a new 50-acre campus on Coffee Road. But the ramifications of that project could extend well beyond health care. 17's Robert Price explains.
It's 50 empty acres now, but use your imagination. In a few years, we don't know how many years.
It's going to be a wellness complex. Adventist Health made a big announcement today.
Good morning.
It's been the quote-unquote future home of a number of projects. Bakersfield Commons, 240 acres on or near the corner of Coffee and Brimhall, was at one time going to be a theme park. Buccaneer Bay, a water park. In 2013, it was going to feature a baseball stadium. And for years now, various incarnations of a mixed-use, master-planned community. All, for one reason or another, fell through. But this time, the most concrete proposal yet. In a press conference Tuesday morning, Adventist Health of Bakersfield announced plans to build a major healthcare complex on the east side of Coffee Road. Details still murky. It may include a hospital, and it may not. Adventist Health President Daniel Wolcott says the pandemic has compelled Adventist to reevaluate possible uses.
We're in the process of a very deep assessment of exactly what we should do in the future to utilize this campus to drive the health and well-being of the nearly 1 million people who live in Kern County.
According to Adventist, it's a $26 million transaction with World Oil Corporation, $16 million of it a donation from the owners of World Oil. The complex, construction timetable still undetermined, will be dubbed the Roth Family Campus. Healthcare needs aside, the development will have big implications for the rest of Bakersfield Commons, which at 240 acres is one of the largest pieces of undeveloped land under single ownership within the Bakersfield city limits. World Oil executives see the Adventist project transforming the area from an unappealing industrial graveyard into an attractive and desirable place. Entertainment, retail, office, and housing smack dab in the middle of a fast-growing metro area. Stephen Roth of World Oil said the development west of Coffee will fit hand in glove with Adventist project east of Coffee.
We're going to build this as a kind of lifestyle center. So there's bike paths, walking paths, there's going to be gardens. It's going to become very different than what has been built. So it's going to be very contiguous with what Adventist is doing.
Brother Robert Roth said the Adventist project will help World Oil find tenants for the main Bakersfield Commons project, which has languished without a solid anchor tenant.
We would have had marketing an empty piece of property. Now we have a property where there's a vision.
So the question beyond what happens with these 50 acres is what happens with the other side of Coffee Road, where more than 200 acres are waiting for development. Stay tuned. On Coffee Road, Robert Price, 17 News.
It will be exciting to see something done with that property.
Absolutely. You know, if you look at those renderings, it's kind of exciting to see all of the new things that will be coming to Kern County and to Bakersfield.
Absolutely. All right, 5:10 your time. After nearly 25 years, a major breakthrough in connection with the disappearance of a college student in San Luis Obispo.
Forensic physical evidence was located, and yes, we believe it's linked to Kristen. And yes, we did find physical evidence at least 2 homes.
Welcome back here at 5:19. A quarter century ago, Kristen Smart was a college student at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. She was 19 years old when she disappeared, and that disappearance has remained a mystery. That was until yesterday when authorities made 2 arrests, one a longtime suspect. NBC's Dan Sheneman reports.
Kristen Smart was last seen in 1996. She was a college student. She was only 19. Nearly 25 years after she was last seen, authorities announced a break in the case.
I'm here this afternoon to announce the arrest of Paul Flores for the murder of Kristen Smart and the arrest of his father, Ruben Flores, as an accessory to the murder.
Paul Flores, now 44, went to school with Kristen Smart. They were seen together. He is booked on a murder charge. Paul's 80-year-old father, Ruben, is facing a charge as an accessory. Investigators executed a series of search warrants at the homes of both suspects and Paul Flores' sister. Authorities say evidence was collected related to Kristen Smart.
Forensic physical evidence was located, and yes, we believe it's linked to Kristen. And yes, we did find physical evidence at least 2 homes.
Authorities cannot say what evidence was discovered, and they say they still have not found Kristen Smart's remains.
So we will continue the process of finding out where Kristen is. We know that's an important part or important issue with the family.
The Smart family released a statement saying, in part, it is impossible to put into words what this day means for our family. We pray it is the first step to bringing our daughter home. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
Also making headlines around the state this morning, California will start immediately spending emergency money for wildfire prevention projects. On the step of a fire truck, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a $536 million emergency spending plan for fire prevention projects across the state. The money is meant for forest management, home hardening against fires, and workforce training. Not only will it be released to state agencies, but also relevant local community groups like fire safe councils. Cal Fire Director Tom Porter says the rest of the agency is bracing for another potentially brutal fire season.
Very concerned that we are in drought conditions, that we are seeing dry fuels, in some cases historically or never before seen live fuel moisture.
The emergency funds are a piece of the governor's overall $1 billion budget proposal dedicated to fire prevention. Hiring is also underway for 1,400 extra firefighters for this fire season.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch, the Small Business Administration was set to launch its Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program on Friday, but ran into technical challenges, closing the portal for the weekend without any applications being submitted. CNBC's Kate Rogers has the story.
After more than a year in the dark, independent music and theater venues are getting a much-needed lifeline from the Small Business Administration. Billions will be made available for operators as lovers of concerts and theater wait for the music to begin again. advocates say these venues are a crucial part of the nation's comeback.
We are part of the backbone of our local economies because for every dollar spent at a small music venue on a ticket, $12 of economic activity is realized for area businesses. And so they recognize that if they want their communities to come back once it's safe to reopen fully, they're going to need this economic magnet of independent venues like ours.
The National Independent Venue Association estimates hundreds of venues have closed for good as the pandemic ravaged the industry in 2020. At the Independent in San Francisco, business is down nearly 100% over the last year, with merchandise sales bringing in a tiny bit of revenue. The grant program can't come soon enough, with operators hopeful the aid will tide them until events start up in the back half of the year, as vaccines continue to roll out and fans get more comfortable in the new normal.
We've had some early indicators in the industry, some festivals that have gone on sale and some tours that have gone on sale that have all blown out on the on sale. So it really, I'm really optimistic about the demands out there, and we can't wait to open our doors.
The SBA said yesterday the portal was still temporarily suspended as it continued to work on a fix. The SBA added it wanted to ensure fair and equitable access for all applicants once it reopens. But after more than a year in the dark, these independent music and theater venues are really waiting for that lifeline and also wondering how much longer they could hang on. For CNBC Business News, I'm Kate Rogers.
National news now. President Biden expected to make a big announcement today about the war in Afghanistan after major news that could put some COVID vaccinations on halt.
Yeah, Tracy Potts has the latest from Washington.
Maddie and Alex, good morning. Pulling this Johnson & Johnson vaccine for now has scared a lot of people who were in line to get it or those who already got the shot. But the Biden administration is reminding Americans that your chance of having a reaction to that vaccine is extremely rare.
Don't get an anxiety reaction because remember, it's less than 1 in a million.
Less than 1 in a million rare but severe blood clots in 6 women who got the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine.
Went back to the ER. It was because my leg was so swollen that I couldn't really walk.
1 woman died. The FDA and CDC recommended pausing the one-shot vaccine as a precaution. The company says there's no causal relationship between the events and the vaccine, but they're also halting trials and its rollout in Europe. The president reassuring Americans that there's plenty of the other 2 vaccines for everyone.
So there's enough vaccine that is basically 100% unquestionable for every single solitary American.
Also today, President Biden visits Arlington National Cemetery to remember those killed in Afghanistan, 2,400 Americans in the nation's longest war. Today, he's expected to announce the U.S. will withdraw all remaining troops there by September 11th, the 20th anniversary of the attack on the U.S. Some lawmakers criticizing that date as political. We can hear more about it in a couple of weeks. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has invited the president to address a joint session of Congress on April 28th. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.